Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to the Football Overseas YouTube channel, and welcome to game week 3 of the English Championship. And we've had 2 full programmes now across the first 2 weekends, so people are starting to find their feet. Perhaps some not finding their feet as quickly as they wanted to. We shall have a look at all of that shortly. So what have we got then coming up? Well, let's have a quick look back at some of the highlights from the weekend. I think the standout result was indeed Charlton Athletic winning away. What a start they've had, by the way. Charlton Athletic winning away at West Ham United. It may just be the right time to play the likes of West Ham and Burnley, coming down from the Premiership even, and still yet to find their feet. Wolves have done okay so far, but the other two, Burnley and West Ham, are certainly finding life a little bit bumpy at the moment, and West Ham certainly found that out as Charlton took the points in a 2-1 win. So that was one of the standout highlights. And also the start made by West Brom. An excellent 3-1 win over the said Burnley on Sunday, I think that was, Sunday lunchtime. So Burnley came unstuck there. West Brom have now won 2 from 2 and are one of 3 teams at the top of the table on those 6 points. Millwall being this week's fun. I say fun, you know what I mean. It's this week's table toppers, for the bit of fun we have for the first half dozen games. Then it starts to sort itself out. So if they're still there then, it will be far from fun. It will be serious stuff, as they were last year, up at the top, of course. West Brom have started the season like they would have hoped for, obviously, winning 2 out of 2. But what I mean by that is from where they came from last season, almost relegated, just survived, as we know. That's all past tense now, and they're there now with 6 points from 6. And the other side, Charlton Athletic, as I say, victors at West Ham. So they're the only 3 teams with 6 points. A host of teams on 4, 3, 2 and 1. And then we have 4 teams at the bottom still with duck eggs against their name. Goodness me. We have Lincoln, who've lost both their games, got fairly well beaten comfortably. The scoreline suggests it was fairly comfortable. Lincoln are saying it doesn't quite reflect their part in the play. It may not do. I didn't see the match. But they're still on 0 points, as are Preston. They've had a poor start. Stoke and surprisingly again after last year's. I think it will be different under Philippe Clement than it was under Liam Manning this time last year, of course. But Norwich have started again with 2 defeats on the trot, and a thumping it was. Admittedly against Millwall, who seem to be carrying on from where they left off last season at the moment. 3-0 thumping. And a red card to boo as well, I think, chucked in for good measure. So Norwich, Stoke, Preston and Lincoln all looking for their first points. Southampton are below all of those, of course, because they had a -4 penalty. So they did win at the weekend, beating Stoke. But they've still got -1, but they've started to make a move. So there we are, a bit of a fun look at the table as it is after just 2 matches. It means nothing really, because you can have 2 wins at any time in the season and not have a massive impact on life in the league. So we shall see. But start getting to 3 and 4 games without picking up a point, then the alarm bells will start to ring and all sorts of things start to happen, don't they? We shall see. So what have we got this weekend then? Here we go with game week 3, as I say. We start on Friday night. We've got 1 game on Friday and all the rest on Saturday, because next week we'll have the first of these full midweek programmes. So that is the treat for next week. So we start with Friday night. Wrexham at home to Birmingham City. Birmingham City just squeaked a point, didn't they? Home to Bristol City. Bit of frustration for me, of course. 90 plus 5, a penalty. It was handball, apparently. I haven't seen it, to be honest. I was busy at the weekend. But a 2 each draw, 90 plus 5 minutes. Probably on as even, possibly. But Bristol City were saying different, of course. And Wrexham had a 1 each draw with Watford. So they've had a couple of draws in their start. And they are playing Birmingham City on Friday night. So I'm going to give Wrexham under lights on the Friday night, get things rolling for us to start with a win and get their first win as well. So I'm going to go Wrexham 2, Birmingham City 1. Now the Saturday games, all Saturday 3 o'clocks, bar the first three. We've got 3 12:30s as usual. Some teams seem to be just perennially in the, permanently in the 12:30 slots. Anyway, it's Derby County, I think we're in them last week as well. Derby County playing Swansea City. It's the first Derby County. Yes, it was. Derby County were playing Cardiff, I think. Well, they were. And I think they were 12:30 as well last week. So the Welsh 12:30 double. But it was a 2-each draw for Derby last week. I think, again, this week it will be a draw. Swansea played out a 0-0 with Sheffield United. And Sheffield United, by the way, have yet to feature in a goal either for or against in the 2 matches they've played. So not exactly getting too much value for money at the moment if you're watching matches involving Sheffield United. I'm sure that will change. So I digress a little bit. Derby County and Swansea, I think, will play out to be another draw for Derby at a lunchtime against the Welsh team on a lunchtime. Derby County 1, Swansea City 1. Then we go to Middlesbrough, who was, I say surprisingly beaten, but Blackburn have had a decent start. And they tumbled Middlesbrough 2-1 last weekend. So Middlesbrough playing West Brom, have had this flying start with 2 great wins. So we shall see, including one of those at Norwich, of course. And then the 3-1 went home to Burnley. So 2 good sides put away, 2 fancied sides put away by West Brom so far. But I think Middlesbrough will dig in here. This will be one of those tough, really stifling sort of games, I think. Middlesbrough won't, with the start they've had, they'll want to get 3 points. Obviously, they won their first home game, of course, against Lincoln. Excuse me. So I think they'll follow up that with another home win, but it'll be tough against a confident West Brom. Middlesbrough 1, West Brom 0. Wolverhampton Wanderers and Stoke make up the third 12:30 kickoff, and it's Wolverhampton Wanderers who have started pretty well. 3-1 win, against Preston North End last week. Preston really struggling at the moment, following on their sort of struggles at the end of last season. Hasn't really picked up. And Stoke have just had a poor start, two losses, and a 3-1 defeat on Saturday at Southampton. And I think this will be another one to add to the woes of Stoke, who've yet to pick up a point. I think they were one of my 3 sides. Yes, they were. A 4 side, sorry. So I think it's going to be Wolverhampton 2, Stoke 0. No joy for Stoke, for me anyway, on Saturday. Then to the 3 o'clocks. First up, it's Blackburn Rovers against Queen's Park Rangers. Blackburn having a fine 2-1 home win against Middlesbrough. They're home again this week. Queen's Park Rangers played out a surprising 0-0 draw against Bolton. I had goals in that match and there were none. Hey-ho, that's the way it is. So I'm going to go Blackburn here. I think will follow up their decent start with a home win. Queen's Park Rangers, just the enigma of the division for me. I say it almost every week, but they are. Just when you think they're going to have plenty of goals in games, they don't. They go down to Portsmouth and score 3. Where do we go with QPR? I don't know. But where they go is to Blackburn, and I think a defeat on the cards. Blackburn 2, Queen's Park Rangers 1. Now the first battle of 2 promoted sides from last season. Bolton Wanderers against Lincoln. Lincoln, of course, running away with it. Gained promotion in the Championship, got it all done and dusted early, but they struggled a little bit. They lost 3-1 at home to Portsmouth on Saturday. Which was, they were surely first game up, all the hype, fell a bit flat for them. Portsmouth took the sting out of everything. Good for them, away from home. And Bolton, as I say, got a real dug in for a 0-0 down at QPR following their first win in the first match. So I think there's a chance here for them to really get some more points ticking on that board. The promoted teams do really need to get points early, don't they? When the enthusiasm's still there, the motivation. So I'm going to go Bolton 3, Lincoln City 1. So Lincoln, if that was to happen, a defeat there would be no points and 3. And they really need to get to make their mark in the new division pretty soon, don't they, in the step up. Now we have a sort of a derby-ish game. It always feels, because it's quite reasonably close, Bristol City and Portsmouth. No love lost between those two sides. I'll be hoping for at least one of the last 2 results. Sorry, Portsmouth fans. Last year it was Bristol City 5, Portsmouth 0. The year before it was 3-0. We got dumped. Bristol City got dumped down at Portsmouth the season before last 3-0. So there's been plenty of one-sided games. Hasn't been a close one yet. I think this will be. Bristol City, of course, getting us being pegged back right at the death at Birmingham, having taken the lead with a magnificent Don Ballard goal. If you haven't seen it, it's like the back heels that normally get back heeled into the net along the deck. Well, this was a back heel with his foot in the air, and it goes into the top corner. There's already talk of it being one of the best goals in the English EFL this season. So we shall see. Man, that's a silly thing to say, of course, a silly judgment to make so early, but it was an absolutely fantastic goal for him to get off the mark after his reasonably big money move, or for that league, a big money move. Anyway, Bristol City and Portsmouth, close game I think it'll be, but I'm going to take Bristol City to get their first win. They're just starting perhaps to settle in, all the new players gelling in and all that sort of stuff. Portsmouth have got their own new set of players as well, so it should be a far different game to what we've had previously. I think it'll be close. I'm going to take Bristol City to nick it by 2-1. I'm going away for the weekend, so I shall be running off into the distance very shortly. Because I live in Portsmouth, that's the sort of reason I mentioned that. A few more to go then. Cardiff City against Sheffield United. Will there be a goal involving a game with Sheffield United? 2-0 so far. I think there will, and I think this will be another tough old counter down there. Cardiff giving nothing away. Look how they pegged Wrexham back in the end a couple of weeks ago, or the first game of the season. Excuse me. That was an amazing equaliser. I think this will be another one each draw, with Sheffield United getting their first goal and staying unbeaten. So I suppose they can't have it all. Cardiff City 1, Sheffield United 1. Charlton, who had that magnificent win at West Ham, are home to Preston. So Preston having a really poor start. It's just, I think, the performances as well, not just the results. So Charlton will see this as a chance. Nothing for granted. I know Nathan Jones will say this is just as like playing anybody else in the league. A side that started poorly doesn't mean a thing, especially after 2 matches. But it just focuses everything, doesn't it, at the start of the season if you have this run of poor results. Charlton, I think, will take the points. They've just got something about them at the moment, and they need to ride that wave while they've got it. I'm going to go Charlton 2, Preston North End 0. Now, the enigma so far, I predicted that Norwich would be knocking on the automatic promotion door, and at the moment they're sitting on the trapdoor. It's unbelievable, really, that they're going through this start to the season once again. Philippe Clement graced us with his presence after Liam Manning's departure last year. Did everything almost that he could to get them into the playoffs, but it's been a really disappointing start for him and for Norwich. This is a tough one because Burnley have not had the best of starts either, picking up just 1 point out of 6. So I think this will be a few goals in it. I don't think either side will think about just staying low block or whatever all this stuff is. I'm going to go Norwich City 2, Burnley 2. So a point each, probably not what either wants, but I think that's how it'll pan out. 2 to go, down to Southampton at St Mary's we go. So this is a real tough one. Southampton and Millwall, not far for the Millwall fans to travel on the train. Piling into St Mary's, I'm sure they'll have a bit to say on Binocular Gate or whatever it was, Spygate. The Millwall fans won't let that go, I'm sure. Southampton had a good 3-1 win over Stoke. Millwall absolutely trounced Norwich, as I said at the top of the piece. So I'm going to go honours even here. I think Millwall will snatch a very well-earned point. Southampton 1, Millwall 1. And last but certainly not least, because it involves the potential the champions, I say, one of the potential champions. that were made favourites at the start of the season, and it wasn't Watford. You won't be surprised to know it's Watford against West Ham, though, and it was West Ham that all the pundits were saying should, with Jared Bowen staying and the feel-good factor that was around the start of the season, has pretty damn well flopped. They were 2-0 up at Burnley, though, because that was the high point of their moments so far in the first game. But last week went down to Charlton at home, which won't have pleased the locals, and a local derby, isn't it? South versus East London. South London versus East London. Anyway, enough of that. How they're going to get on at Watford. I think this is a chance to say, right, come on, let's pull the socks up, whatever they do these days, and I'm going to say they'll get a win down at Watford. You never know what Watford are going to do, especially at home. They're all over the place sometimes, and I think they might do well to get anything out of the match. So I'm going to go Watford 0, West Ham United 2. So there we have it, the bank holiday or English bank holiday fixtures, but they're all on the Saturday anyway, bar the Friday night between Wrexham and Birmingham that start us off. So that's it. We've got this is the start of a 3-game week effectively. We have this Tuesday and Wednesday night programme next week, so I will try and we'll be back and get a clip and a review of what goes on at the weekend. Will there still be teams on 0 points going into game 4? Goodness me, that will be interesting. We'll see who's enjoying life at the top. I don't know, it might still be Millwall. They could go there, they could hold their own there. We shall see. All a bit of fun at this time of the year. The evenings are still bright and light. It's not until we get the dark evenings and the clocks go back that we really start taking all this seriously, but it is a great start to the season. We've had some wonderful goals. So, yes, my 2 things to end with. My team of the week is Charlton Athletic, not only for their fantastic win at West Ham, that was really the nub of it, obviously, but they've had a great start, two wins out of 2. And my champagne moment, afford me this, guys, Bristol City and Dom Ballard. What a finish it was. It thought it was going to be worthy of winning any game in the world, never mind in the English Championship. It was a back heel, waist high, top corner. Please, if you get a chance to see it again, or see it for the first time, have a look, study it, slow it down, zoom in, do what you need to do. It was fantastic. But it didn't get the 3 points for Bristol City. They were pegged back by a last kick penalty. There we go. So it's Team of the Week, Charlton Athletic. Champagne Moment of the Week, the absolute fantastic finish by Dom Ballard. I will see you all again very soon. Take care, stay healthy, and please like, subscribe, get that index finger working on the buttons that give us those options. Thank you so much. Take care. See you soon.